Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of AM and the PM with Amanda and Mark. Amanda, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to talk about who we have become versus who we want to be.
Okay, now explain that a little bit more for the people.
Well, who we have become, for me personally, I feel like I'm going to talk about just what I have gone through this past year. I have just grown tremendously. I feel like you when I say the word tremendously. I have
Tremendously.
tremendously. I have grown tremendously just in multiple different categories, just different things that I have kind of made a change in my life. I mean, for you, it's definitely been the past couple years. I mean, obviously, everyone grows through changes and grows. Obviously, I've grown through the past couple years too, but for me personally, I feel like I've literally like transformed like this year. I've done like a 360, like became a whole new person. Not complete. Obviously, I'm still who I was, but I literally the pandemic has changed me. Um, and just recently, I've had more goals that I have wanted to accomplish, and I like just thought about this the other day. I'm like who I want to be. Um, and just like a little backstory, I feel like when Mark would ask me who I want to be, I would just want to be a mom. And like that was it. Um,
That was true.
so I just feel like a lot different now about it, I guess.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I agree with that. I think that you've changed tremendously over this last year. I don't know necessarily what to attribute it to, other than the fact that you had the opportunity to change. I think that was a big one. I think a lot of times people get stuck in their ways because they keep going over the same routine every day and every week and week in and week out. You go to work 5 days a week, you chill out on the weekends or whatever the deal is. And if you're not doing something that's moving you forward, like actively, meaning that if you're just doing a job that is kind of the same thing every day, and other than that you're kind of just chilling, watching TV, and going out here and there or whatever, you're not there's no progress. You know what I'm saying? There's just by definition no progress because you're doing the same things. So this gave you the opportunity, without going to work, it gave you a lot more free time. And I'm sure you're going to touch on this and kind of go through your analysis of it, but I think that is something that a lot of us needed. Hopefully a lot of us took advantage of that, because those types of opportunities, I think everybody had this opportunity this year. Whether they squandered it or whether they made the most out of it, it was probably a once in a lifetime type of opportunity, unless you make it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it really was.
very rarely people say, all right, here's some money, like whatever, we're not going to get into all that, but like, here's something or whatever. But more so, like, let's even leave the money out of it. It's just like, here's some time, like a block of time, month, 2 months, whatever, where you can't go to work. You have to stay home and you have to just figure out how to live like that. And I think some people probably it was positive, and some people it was negative. For us, I think it was pretty positive.
Mhm.
So, I mean, however you want to kind of describe it.
Well, it's interesting. Even now, hearing you say just that little spiel you did at the beginning there when you first started talking, about going to work, coming home, watching TV, kind of just going through the motions of life. I was doing that. I obviously still am like, doing that because I'm at work and I'm like still kind of doing that, but obviously I think it's a little different now. Um, I I didn't really care. I honestly didn't care. And like I thought Mark was just like a little crazy, which like at the time looking back, like I was fulfilled. It's not like I wasn't fulfilled. Like I was happy. But so it was basically like, I would go to work Monday through Friday, same job I have now at Kitty Academy, and I would come home and like I would hang out with Mark, I may have even hung out with him a little bit more than we do now, just because I don't know. That doesn't really matter because we still see each other like 3 to 4 times a week now. But and I would come home and I would go, and this was it's kind of funny that I'm about to say this, but this was before TikTok. Literally, that's a whole nother thing. TikTok, I spend a ton of time on TikTok now. Everyone can say that right now. I see a lot of people, like my friends, we talk all the time about how we need to get off TikTok and off our phones. I was saying that to myself today as I was on TikTok all morning long, and I didn't even feel guilty. Anyways, so I would just kind of, and then I was spending a lot more time with my family back then, like my aunt and uncle and my little cousin. So, I think any chance I got, really, any chance I was available or like wasn't going home. I think some days I just felt like going home after work and like chilling out, But Mark and I would go to eat with them a lot. I would go stop at their house just randomly and hang out. At this time, this was right before when our most jobs got shut down. So, I think I was spending a lot of time, like, not like a lot of time, but I think I like was hanging out with my coworkers here and there. Like, I remember being so busy, like, with hanging out with people that I was like stressed out.
Everything before.
Yeah, this was before like the 2 months. Like, this was before the quarantine.
Right.
So, and I was just stressed out a bunch about the other stuff, whatever. But I was just, I don't know, whatever. So then quarantine happened, and everything stopped. It was like, I was stressed about like my health conditions, which I have like a high blood count, so I was stressed out that like something was like seriously wrong with me or something. And they're just monitoring my blood work right now. So even months later now, like, I'm fine, everything's fine. Just like silly stuff that, I mean, it's not silly. It could have been serious, but looking back now, it was silly, but it really, wasn't silly for me to be stressed. But everything just stopped, like I couldn't really go to the doctor. It wasn't like urgent, but it was like whatever. Everything was put on pause. So I just had time to myself.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't know if you wanted to add anything before I just kept going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much like up until quarantine, I guess. So, I mean, maybe if we continue with you and we kind of talk about those things, I wanted to kind of butt in earlier, but I refrained. You said that you were fulfilled at one point in there. Like, you said you were fulfilled, but
it's hard to say.
Well, that's the thing, is that this is one of the things that is very interesting I've seen just from like your situation versus my situation, because that's perspectives that we understand greatly, right? And in the relationship, we were actually just talking about this over dinner this evening, and there's this idea where, we'll get into more of that specific piece, but like regarding Amanda's situation here, before quarantine, like she said that she was fulfilled. She probably was kind of fulfilled. Like, it was probably like not that bad. The thing is, there's a difference. As we'll hear, like if I go over like my sort of like spiel and everything like that, I was like actively upset. Like, I was like there was an active thing that was like kind of making me upset. Like, sort of like, I just wasn't the right fit anymore for the job that I was in. It was just getting shittier and shittier. And then we made a decision, stuff like that. And that was a little bit pre COVID time. But with Amanda I've never known Amanda to be a non-happy person. Like, she's always been happy, unless like there's been like an event, like a tragedy event, in her family or whatever. Obviously we've experienced some deaths, and she goes about those. Well,
I'm sorry. My grandparents passed away. It's not like we experienced a lot of death.
Well, I mean, I haven't, is what I'm saying.
That was death, but my grandparents have both passed away. So Mark has been with me when my grandma passed away and my papa's passed away, and they were both separate times. So yeah, right. Continue.
And what we mean by that is that like, she's never not happy. Like, that's one of the reasons that we've been together for so long. It's one of the reasons that I liked her from the get-go, because there was a lot of like happiness and content and like just joy that was like about her persona and all that. So what I mean to say is that she was never actively unhappy, but I've always also thought, at least before COVID specifically, we talked about things. It was like,
Yeah.
is something missing? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like, it's not like something's actively hurting you, but is something missing?
Yeah, and I didn't think anything was missing. And now
Right.
it's like, holy shit, I'm fucking like,
Well, they're on. Well, the other thing is like,
I am like, I'm so proud of myself for
yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm doing this?
Yeah, I mean, well, there might even be more. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you unlock the door where it's like, oh wow, there's something cool here, then I'm not even saying that you have to know what's missing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you could have tried something and be like, okay, this is kind of fun. Let me try
Well,
something
yeah,
else.
but you
But
have
like,
to understand when you're telling that to someone and they literally don't think anything is missing. It's so weird to hear. And it
Right.
was like almost like annoying because it was like, I'm okay, you know?
Right.
So it's just weird to hear that.
Right.
But honestly, I will say this. I don't feel like this anymore, but I have felt like this. We've talked about this a couple times in my life, or in our relationship. But I felt like this a lot. So like Mark said, I'm a genuinely happy person. I'm always happy. I'm always like joyful, and I'm not like joyful. I'm like joyful.
Yeah.
I'm always just happy. I'm a genuinely happy person. Well, it's like I was almost afraid, not like afraid of being too happy, but it's like when things got too good, it was scary. And I have no idea why I felt that way. But I remember like feeling that way, like driving home from work one day, like literally just because our relationship was so good. Like, it's like, I don't know. I was just thinking, what if that has to do, this is like, I feel like this episode is going to get a little out of control because
Yeah.
I already feel it. Just me like talking about random things. Not like random. I mean, it all has to do with what I'm about to say, but I'm just like, what if this is crazy? So when my parents got back together, they separated when I was real young. They got back together for literally like 3 months, and we lived in a townhouse. And I like still have these genuine memories of it being like amazing. Like, we lived in this perfect little town. It wasn't perfect, probably, but you know, to me it was perfect. This perfect little townhouse. It was so nice. It was so great. Everything was nice. And then my dad like has bipolar disorder and just mental health issues. So one night he like went manic, and my mom had to call the cops, and everything turned out okay. They got to my mom and everything. But like, I don't know, that just made me think for a second, like, I like have this fear, even now a little bit. It's mostly gone though. It's just because I feel like our relationship and like how much you're growing and how much you plan to grow, and just that bug.
Smack it.
Oh my god.
Just hit it.
Do you think it's a mosquito?
Hit it. Hit it.
Ah! What if it bites me?
It's not gonna bite you. You're all right.
We're
leaving that in. Keep going.
I think it was a baby mosquito. It's probably biting my leg.
It's
right
dead.
now. No.
You didn't get it?
No, it went like on my leg.
You didn't hit it?
I don't think so. It's like, unless it's like on my sweater.
I
We're
don't
just
know.
going to forget about it.
If I see it, I'm gonna smack it.
It was very small, but if that was a big ass mosquito, you guys would have, if you are watching this, you would have seen me run over there. Anyways, so I wonder if that has to do, I want to say that was something small in my life, but it obviously wasn't small. That was like a really big thing in my life. But I wonder if that has to,
Just forget about it.
if that has to do with it. Because things got really good, and then it literally came crashing down. So it's just interesting.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, I think we all.
But I have that fear. And so during the quarantine, it just started with, I was sitting there super lazy. Not because I wanted to be lazy. I mean, I didn't really work out before, like here and there. I like went to the gym once before for like a month, and I quit going because I couldn't like get Mark with me, and I would literally skip the gym to hang out with Mark, so it was just stupid. And it was this really small gym down the street from my house. Really small. Like, oh my gosh. I don't understand how people go to small ass gyms like that. Anyways, so I, just started doing the treadmill, just like different stuff I saw on social media that, people say to try. And my friend, like, influenced me to, she like sent me some videos. So I just tried some stuff and like started moving my body and, like just exercising in different ways. And it just grew from there. And yeah.
So again, just to reiterate, yeah, you didn't do any like physical activity. Like I
No,
remember
at
that.
all. Not at all. And I was actually, before the quarantine, I was to the point where I literally was like, I am not gonna, I just like knew, I like didn't think working out was like for me. Maybe not like right before the quarantine, but I know for sure at one point I thought like if I wanted to get like skinnier or whatever, I would just like diet and that was it. Like there was a point where I really just thought working out like wasn't for me. I don't know. Which is weird because I literally, I did go to the gym and I did exercise before in my life, but I don't think it wasn't like anything like what I'm doing now. It was more of like I would make up my own, like I would literally just like do some crunches, do some like little ab things, but like I wouldn't like look at someone and do what they're doing or anything like that. It was like I would just do it myself. And then I would do like the elliptical at the gym, but it wasn't like structured or like any.
Right. Well, I don't know if you. This is actually really interesting. So like I don't know if you ever tried that before because it sounds like you
No,
didn't. It sounds like you never tried to do some
no.
structure stuff before.
I don't know. I never thought about
So I'm gonna throw an idea out there
people on
that
YouTube and stuff.
I'm gonna throw an
Yeah.
idea out there that like you may know, you may not know. You definitely heard me say it before, but I think like our viewers maybe they'll get an interesting perspective. So I kind of think that I don't know what happened to you. Like I don't know what happened in your head to make you want to do that. I guess maybe it was just
It
like
was literally because I wasn't working, and although it's just a job. I'm moving around with toddlers all day. I'm at least moving. Like it's not like exercise, but it's still like it's like still like I'm physically moving all day and doing stuff. Like I'm
right,
at work. Like even when I worked at like Dunkin' Donuts, I was like moving throughout the day and moving. Like I have to be moving. I can't just sit on the couch. I mean, like yeah, I do that when I come home from work, but it was literally like I wasn't even working. So it was like I'm gonna sit on this couch all day. I'm literally was like, I literally was like, am I gonna get like bed sores from sitting on the couch? Like
yeah,
dramatic as fuck. But like literally, I can't do that.
right,
I couldn't do it.
right. So I mean that's probably a big contributing factor because like you basically went completely sedentary there for a little bit, and then you didn't want to do that. Like you wanted to make sure that you were still up and moving around because like you said you weren't working. I think so my theory
Okay.
that the reason that is stuck is because you seem to be through and through. It seems like you're. I don't want to say it how I normally say it because I think that you've changed tremendously. But I think at your core you need a leader.
I knew you were getting to Mad Fit.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
Mad Fit is my girl. She is my life. Yeah.
You need
So
someone. You need someone that you can follow and you can have like structure with. And I mean, like with lifting and with fitness and all that sort of stuff. Like that's what you're doing there. And it just seems like there are places where you're actually you're a hell of a leader. But with that specifically, I think that was almost the magic ticket for you.
it was, and I always wonder how people like come up with their own workouts and stuff. Like I mean, obviously that takes a while to like be able to do that and like research and like whatever like their own like little circuits and stuff. Maybe eventually one day I'll do that. I don't know. But this is just a small example. So Olivia Polling on Instagram. Gosh, she's like from LA. I feel like I started following her because I thought she worked for Gymshark. That could be a total freaking lie. I thought she was a trainer at Gymshark. No, Gym. I thought
Gold's Gym.
I thought Gymshark had like an actual gym and she was a trainer. That could be totally a lie. Do not take my word from it. But she's a trainer. And she makes videos, and she has some great videos, and she's like really active. Like I swear she works out like every day. But it's like her life, her job, and she loves it, whatever. But she has some kick ass workouts on there, and I always watch them. Like literally she posts them every day, and I like look at everyone. So I decided to do one on Instagram, and it it was amazing. I was so sore, like probably the most sore I've been in a long time. But it was so hard to do because I was just watching her on Instagram and then like reading what to do under the little thing. And it was so hard because I like had to actually do it myself, and I had some music going. I mean, obviously I'm doing it myself when I'm doing it with MadFit. So MadFit, her videos are literally like she like at the beginning she does a little explanation of whatever, and then you get right into it, and she literally like does it with you, and like she has music in the background, but she talks the whole time. She's like heavy breathing when you're heavy breathing, and it's like it's like you're working out with her. So that 100% is why. And especially when I tried the Olivia Polling workout, I hope that's how you say her name. I'm pretty sure. But I realized like wow, this really is why I like MadFit so much, because um how do you say her name? Maddie
Limbaumer.
Limbaumer, right?
Limbaumer? I don't know.
Maddie Limbaumer?
Maybe.
Everyone knows her as MadFit anyways.
Mm.
But that's truly why I think I like her workouts and her videos so much. And yeah, I have to this has been a recent thing. I've had to switch up a little bit what I've been doing, because literally I have just felt like cuz I do a lot of HIIT and strength training, and recently I've just felt like sometimes I just don't want to do certain videos. So yeah, I have to switch up the videos now, and I have tried to incorporate more like dance workouts in, just cuz they're more fun, I feel like. But yeah, she's just, I feel like I know her. Like literally, I feel like I know her. Like I feel like we like have a relationship.
Well, that's good that she can do that for you. I think that's most influencers' jobs or goals.
Yeah, I mean, she
But
literally talks to you when you're like doing the workout.
yeah,
So
but like her style is good. It resonates with you, and
yeah,
she's probably a decent teacher. She's a good leader. She's a good like emotional support person. Like while you're doing your workouts and stuff like that, like you said. So those are all probably reasons that kind of it made it much easier for you to continue to do. Like you wanted to do it. It was there.
mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean that's awesome that you found that, because you've definitely changed a hell of a lot in that capacity.
Yeah,
And it's something that
and
you do extra now.
yeah, but it has, like I said, it's been a struggle recently. Just like staying motivated. It's like you're never really motivated, but like
Well,
you like no, like you are motivated, but sometimes you have to like be. You might not be motivated, but you still have to be motivated.
yeah, you gotta just do it. You
yeah.
can't give yourself the chance to make an excuse.
And I honestly just feel like it being like dark, like daylight saving, it being dark this week has really just been like bleh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to get deeply into this, but like, I mean, again, it's like what we talked about, just having a random conversation yesterday or the day before, and specifically with what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the bros out there will know that like there's beginner gains. So you've made some progress, you've seen some progress, you're still having fun, obviously, like you enjoy all that. But at the same time though, when you start something and it's new and it's exciting, it's like literally anything. There has to be something later down the line to get you over or like past the plateau. Like you're going to go, "Oh wow, this is awesome." And then you're going to be like, "Oh, this is okay." Like this was better before, like, emotionally. And then like you get to this part and you plateau. It's like you got to do something else. You got to change it up. You got to do something like you were saying, change different workouts. You've been doing the dance thing,
Well,
right?
yeah, I did
So
do a little plateau, I guess you would say, this past week. I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I just feel really shitty. I was telling Mark that I feel like I'm doing all these workouts. I'm doing amazing, literally like amazing. Like a couple months ago, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I've purchased weights. I use weights like a couple times a week, and it's like the best decision. If you're ever thinking about if you want to buy weights when you're working, do it. Like it's the best. It's literally the best decision I've ever made. I didn't think that I would like. I thought the weights would be like super hard, but it's like my favorite workout because it's like I don't know. It's nice and slow, and you can like focus, like mind to muscle. Like I don't know. It's like really therapeutic. That is so crazy that I am saying this. Like weird. Like that's wild. Who the fuck am I? Like that's what I mean. I have just completely like changed. But I felt like I was being really active and focusing on certain workouts and exercises, and but I feel like I'm eating all this garbage food. Like I haven't been. So, the perfect time. So, normalize normal bodies.
Oh, jeez, this is a plug.
Hold
This
on.
whole episode was a plug.
If you are watching this on YouTube, I have to show you my shirt. Do you think they can see it? Yeah.
Probably.
Normalize normal bodies. So, Mick Zazon. I don't know if that's how you say her name either.
Probably Zazon.
Mick Zazon.
I don't know, dude.
I feel like her real name is probably Michaela, but I don't actually know that for sure because literally on TikTok and Instagram, her name is Mick Zazon. And I think so this is from Shop Common. It is her clothing company, but she has actually started the Normalize Normal Bodies movement. She made the hashtag. So
She made it.
I
Typed
have
it in.
She started the movement.
I gotcha.
So, back when TikTok first became popular, or for me, back when I first started using it, I just started following these people, Gabby Mail and Mick Zazon, or Zazon, not
Probably
sure.
should just call her Mick.
Mick. Gabby
Watch it be
Mail and
Mike.
Mick.
Is it definitely Mick?
It's M-I-K.
I understand that, but you've never heard anybody say her name.
I think it's. Why would it be
I don't
Mike?
know. It's probably Mick. Yeah, it's probably Mick.
Why would it
It's
be
probably Mick.
So, anyways, so literally just like these stupid, not like stupid videos, but like videos that stuck in my head, like just like them on TikTok, just like being funny, and they're like, just eat the cookie or like something stupid like that. Literally, I have been on so many diets in my lifetime. Like I lived forever. By the way, I'm only 23. You put 24 years of life on our last little post. Only 23.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean.
He's 24.
You know.
Same old.
Whatever.
Same difference. Anyways. So, I just thought it was really, was really like inspired by them, just like those videos of like people like jiggling their stomach around, and it's funny, but like I don't know, I don't even remember. Like I think I just looked at Mick's TikToks and I got really inspired by her, and then Gabby Mail, and actually that's like her handle, so I don't know if that's like her name is Gabby Mail. I'm assuming that's like her whole name. I don't know. I think I found them separately and then realized that they were friends, so like it was funny because they both just have social media platforms. And I don't know, I just really aspire.
We got him.
I really aspire to be like them. Just like, I just love the way they're just like, eat the food. Like, they're
It's
like,
your
I
dinner.
don't know.
Tina, eat
Don't
the food.
forget to eat today. They have had eating disorders and stuff like that. I've never personally experienced an eating disorder myself, but they're just really inspiring and just about normalizing normal bodies, like just.
I like the movement. Because that is
and-
because the bodies that I've seen just like from like being on that site, buying that shirt for you and stuff like that, they are
Mhm.
pretty normal. Like they're
Yeah,
normal
and it's
people.
just like,
They're not like like celebrating actual morbid obesity,
I was
which is
thinking
a problem.
I was thinking about this. Personally, me, you know what I mean? I am into fitness, but I'm not like into fitness like, oh, I have to be this skinny. I'm into fitness because I want to move my body and I want to be stronger. And sure, maybe I'll, look better soon. Like, so but I have been one of those people that have just not worked out, not done anything, and just has had a normal bodies. And everyone's body is different, and that's kind of what they praise about. So, yep, normalizing normal bodies. So, I I'm sure there's a lot more random stuff I could say, but in a nutshell, that is what has happened to me this past year. And honestly, who I want to be is someone that I want to be like an influencer of like body positivity, or I like saw somewhere that is like not the right thing to say. I don't know what that means, but I guess I want to praise normalizing normal bodies and just being comfortable in your own skin. And all bodies are different, like literally all bodies are different. Um, and we women have a stomach because we carry babies. And that's every like woman's biggest insecurity. And obviously, I would like to, a big thing Mark and I've talked about recently is I would like to eat better, but make it's like almost make better eating choices, because I can't diet, I can't restrict myself, or it's just gonna like, so just making better choices, like maybe eat all the broccoli before I eat my sandwich, like just stupid stuff like that. Who knows? Like I could go back. I just feel like I've been a little spiraling on the bad food recently, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you left out, obviously, that we're
Mark's a
still
bad food influence.
terrible bad influence. Yeah, that's all me. She did not eat like she did before me. So yeah, that was definitely my fault. I have a way of eating that is just kind of crazy, and I get to eat almost whatever I want, and it has not caught up with me tremendously just yet. So one day we'll probably have to change that as well. However, I will say this, not as an excuse, but as a real thing that is sort of our situation is we are still living at our parents' houses independently.
Yeah.
So we don't really have like a fridge that we could put stuff in. Like we have, our parents' fridge and stuff like that, but it's not really the same. So as soon as we do have our own place, we do plan on making those types of changes a little bit more, because right now we're kind of just going out to eat for the most part, and we should probably tone down the amount of food that we get, especially me, when we go out. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Literally, he's an appetizer guy. But I would say, yeah, there's definitely more.
Yeah.
There's definitely more to who I want to be, but I feel like that kind of ties with who we are going to be, as a couple, and with AM and the PM, and with Fueled by Progress, and with what choices we make with our apartment, our townhouse, our house, or children and
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a
engagement
dope ass.
and marriage. I'm like just
We're
going
gonna
off.
have
I'm going off, but like those are all of our goals, and so
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have a dope ass life. So I have most of it written down already. So that's funny. That's
okay.
funny.
So what about you with who you have become?
I mean, the path is, I would say, less drastic of a change. I don't know. Before pandemic, that's ridiculous. Before,
I feel like in the past like 2 years you have
well, yeah. I mean, the past 2
really,
years, yeah.
like grown, I guess.
I talk about this a lot. I don't know how super deep I want to go into it, but
No, well, it's crazy that almost like a year ago you were still working at Remax, because it was last January, and this January is coming up.
yeah. I mean, I think it was actually around this time, like around 2018, like somewhere in the later half of the year. I was starting to build websites. I was getting excited with that. I built the first business up, like Find a Tech, and I was laying the foundation for all that and just learning a shit ton. I think I was still probably learning a lot about finance at that point, and then business, entrepreneurship, and everything. while I was still working. So I would go to work, and then I'd do that on nights and weekends and stuff. And I don't ever remember being like a straight up grinder. I remember I did that a lot, but I don't think that I was like not sleeping. Like I was definitely still sleeping and everything. So that was never part of my mission. Like what I'm saying is I probably could have kept a job and continued to work, but that was never my MO. Like as I continued to go on there, and again, Amanda and I actually just had this, in preparation for this episode, we were talking about this. I was literally a different person. I became a different person during the year 2019 because I was just fucking miserable. Like I was probably in the beginning of the year, I was probably close to ready. Probably by the middle of the year, I was like really getting shitty. Like it was summertime, I think, and it was just I just hate it. I just did not like going somewhere every morning and having to work for somebody else and doing all this, and it was just feeling really shitty. And again, I don't ever want to criticize the job. Bless you. I don't ever want to criticize the job or the people there because they were all tremendous. They all treated me very well. I have nothing bad to say about the company that I worked for. But at the same time, like I just realized Amanda's full. She definitely is full. She sneezes when she's full, but we ate a while ago, so it's funny. But anyway, the situation with me was it was just no longer a good fit for me, and I don't know. I can't tell you an exact reason. All I know is I didn't want to fuck with me anymore. It's that simple. So after a lot of back and forth, and this is actually when Fueled by Progress, the podcast started up because I was just having these ideas and these different thoughts, and I would talk into my phone.
Can you pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
So, not long after we started AM and the PM, I saw that Mark had Fueled by Progress, and I don't think I even knew that he was like doing a podcast. Like I didn't know he had Fueled by Progress, the podcast, and he had.
I don't really know if anybody really knew that much.
No one knew, and I knew that he recorded himself, with his phone in his car talking, but I never knew that he was recording episodes talking. So I thought that was cool because there were like four, like you said earlier on your live stream, I think there were like 40 episodes of you just talking. I was like, holy shit, Mark, I didn't know you were doing this. What the fuck?
I didn't remember that I didn't tell you. Yeah, I mean, just what Amanda's alluding to is today I did like a little Instagram live stream and I talked about that. And it's interesting that we're having all this conversation today because I was reminiscing on it recently, and that was extremely therapeutic. I was in a shitty place where I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be like the thing that I wanted to be anymore, or the thing that I was doing. I'd had like enough of that part of my life, and I was like, let me do something else. And it was really hard for me in 2019 to get over that. It was to like think of the facts like, no, you should stay here and just continue to work and just go to work, come home every day like everybody else does and feel like shit, because that's kind of what the influences in your life to this point have kind of been. But then I started to like directly, but then I started to watch and consume content of indirect influences, which is a huge reason that I'm a fucking huge proponent of like YouTube and meeting new people and just networking, doing all this stuff, because it opens your eyes to something that you wouldn't see otherwise. Like imagine if you only knew the influences of your family and the people near you and your immediate family. That could be extremely detrimental because you're never going to know anything else. You're never going to know like, oh, I could start a business. Oh, I could just be a minimalist and not have a lot of expenses or anything like that, and then not really have to have like a full-time, like there's just a million options. Okay. And the 9 to 5, be miserable as fuck is not the only one. And if you have a 9 to 5 and you love that, then do that. But what I'm saying is I was just in this place where I needed to deploy a lot more self-awareness and really try to understand myself and what I wanted. And that's ultimately what I did. And luckily I was able to muster up enough courage, if you will, after a lot of not like therapy, like going places, but like therapy with myself and just trying to understand myself and constantly, doing those, holding the phone up to my mouth and just, while I'm driving home from a day that I just fucking soul like just sucked out of me. And I'm like, yo, this is not where you want to be, man. There's so many things that you have ideas on that could be implemented differently. There's ideas that are not even close to what you're doing right now. It's like you've learned a lot, take what you have and just go do something else because you're so young and you still have very limited responsibilities, and now's the time to do it. And that's just constantly the message that you get. And that's effectively what I did. So, I mean, at the end of 2019, I was like, yeah, I'm done after January of 2020. And, again, I said my goodbyes. I was extremely grateful for everything that I was, all the opportunity that I was given, but it was just no longer the right place for me. And I left. And at that point, I had everything pretty much thought about, at least. I mean, like, we maybe added a couple things. I know I can't remember when AM and the PM actually started. We're on like almost 33 here. So it's been like a little bit over half of a year.
It
So
started in like April.
right. So we had some things thought about, but I think we thought about it earlier.
Yeah, we thought about it. We've talked about the clothing company, and we've talked about having a podcast.
Timing is weird.
And
like
I think we even had the name. I think we had AM and the PM.
Yeah.
Like, I think whenever I was still working, we did have everything. Like, we had like stuff like an idea in place and together, but we didn't start like recording or getting really serious about it until the pandemic hit. And I was like staying over here a lot. And one day you were like, "Do you want to start the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Right. Timing is weird for a bunch of reasons. One, because when you're in that state of, I mean, I could probably look back and find it out, but I can't think of it because I was in a constant state of like just kind of misery. Like, and again, we talked about it earlier. Not only did it affect me, like it affected me because I didn't want to be where I was, but just as a random kind of aside here that still fits, our relationship was way, way worse because I was upset. Like I wasn't like, I was not depressed, but I was like, just in a shitty spot.
Well, he's never in like a bad mood. Like there are times where he's tired, so he's just like cranky, or like there's been like I could probably like maybe like a handful of like times where he's been cranky because he's hungry. Like he's literally been an asshole because he's hungry. But he's never really been mad or like or like just sad, like just like upset almost, like just like annoyed and upset and just like in a funk. And he was in a funk for like a little less than probably like 2 months, I would say. And I was telling him earlier today, like me thinking back at that makes me miserable thinking about it. And I remember the day, because like he kept saying he was going to quit and then he didn't. And I remember the day he's like, "Yeah, I told my boss like that I'm leaving." I was like, "What, really?"
Mhm.
And it was surreal for me too. It wasn't just surreal for Mark, because he quit his job, and we have been talking about literally building a life together, like that year, moving in together and stuff. So it wasn't just like, I mean, like, of course it was surreal for Mark, but he knew it was the best decision. But honestly, I remember like a month into it, or maybe like 2 weeks into it, him being really like, we were like at Panera Bread, and he was like sitting down. He was like, "I don't know, I'm just stressed. Like, I don't know what to do. Blah, blah, blah." Like, just him figuring out when to do what and figuring out his schedule. And he was just overwhelmed because there was so much stuff he wanted to do. But yeah, it was surreal for, I want to say like all of us. All of us. I mean, like, yeah, it was surreal for us, and like I guess our family is like, "Oh, Mark, what is he gonna do now?" But I think things are going really well, and I couldn't see him doing anything else. So
I can't see myself doing anything else either. And there's a couple points that I want to make sure because, again, like Amanda did a good job and she was there, and I'm very happy that she was by my side for all this. But again, at the end of the day, it was me that I had to like, with the support of everyone around me, I had to make those decisions. And what I will say, like literally directly to the camera, if anybody, is in a similar position whatsoever, is if like you feel like that, if you feel in your fucking gut and in your soul that you're not in the right place, get the fuck out of there. Seriously. Like, and don't blame the place, blame yourself. Like, you don't need to be hard on yourself, but that's the way that I live, is like, I am here because I chose to be here. Nobody forced me to be here. That doesn't happen in this fucking country normally. Like you're so free to do whatever the hell you want. So like, if you are in a shitty job and you're not happy for whatever reason, just get out. Like seriously, don't burn any bridges or anything, but just get out of there because it's not worth it, especially when it comes to work. You can find a job somewhere else. You can bop around if you have to. Like, I wouldn't recommend it, obviously. I mean, you should try to continue to progress up and everything, but if you want to do something for yourself, it doesn't matter if you're young or if you're old, but if you're young, like that's even more of a reason to just go after it, because seriously, like if I didn't do that when I did that, then I may have never done it. And if I didn't do it, then I continue to be miserable. Like I looked at the situation and I was like, fuck, man, there are a lot of people that I know that have just lived with this misery. Like there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. There's no fucking way. I'm just going to like want to do something terrible. I'm going to want to be like, I'm going to have to find some sort of other like outlet, like drugs or alcohol or something like that. Like I've never done any of that. And it's like,
Oh my god.
well, I'm just
I
saying, I'm just
know.
saying there's some people
Yeah.
like, I don't know how they live their lives. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to sound like ridiculous, but I'm
Or
serious.
they literally live them miserably Monday through Friday or Monday through whatever, and then just go home and drink because they're miserable.
Yeah. So like I was not gonna have any of that. Like I already have like a vice in my life, like as like hockey, which isn't like a really bad vice or whatever, but like exercise and like healthy things like that. Like I want to make sure that I continue to have those types of things. And you know, that wasn't even doing it for me, is what I'm saying. Like I would go play hockey and it's like, oh great, that's awesome. Endorphins, all that sort of shit. Oh fuck, I have to go to work tomorrow, you know? So now, and one small part we left out of this was I was also working on the weekends at Ray's, which I didn't like, but at the time was less shitty than the days, right? And now it's totally flipped. So I trade 2 bad days for 5 good days, if you will, because like I'm doing all my own stuff now. And again, it's so all of that aside, right?
That's crazy. How long did you work there?
Raise or Remax Select?
No, not Ray's. That's
Remax
your
Select.
whole life.
Yeah, that's my whole life. That's since I was born. Remax Select Realty, I was there almost 3 years, I think. Total.
No.
No, it was almost 3 years. But it was
No.
that was including the internship.
No.
That's what it says on my LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure. Somebody go check. Why? I think it was
Maybe I feel like it doesn't count because when you go there like before school. When you
Yeah.
at one point you went there. Okay. I feel well
that was
'cause-
probably for like 6 months. Like yeah, like it was like between 2 and 2.5 years, I think.
Okay, because right now it feels like you were there for a very small chunk of time. I think
No,
it's
I mean it was definitely
I
over.
think it's
It was
just-
definitely at least three parties, like 3 year-end parties.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I guess he worked at like 2 different locations. So the one time when he worked at the location near me, it was nice because he
it
would
was.
be near
I mean,
me.
okay, so here's
And then he worked farther away, so it kind of
Here's the
kinda
thing.
stunk.
when I decided that I was gonna leave. Okay, I was like, have I been here long enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, have I been here long enough to like leave, or like have I had enough experience? And what I'm starting to realize now, one, that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
But
that
two,
doesn't matter.
though, I had so much
You
experience
did, yeah.
in that amount of time. I was doing all sorts of different things. I was working in different places. I wasn't even like in a position really. Like, I mean, there was a couple positions in there, like, but I was doing all sorts of stuff. I was meeting all sorts of people. I think that generally I progressed pretty fastly, and there I was
Yeah.
just doing it like I was just shooting up like a star, right? But at the same time, just all sorts of reasons, not the right place anymore. And I think that you have to do that. You have to realize, you have to do yourself a favor and do your absolute best to realize when a position, no matter what it is in your life, work, whatever, is not the relationship, isn't the right thing for you, right? And that is just, I cannot tell you how difficult it was at the time because I can't really put it into words,
Well,
and I can't think back to it. But I am ridiculously happy that I've done what I've done.
well, what you guys also need to know is Mark's worked at Ray's, his family restaurant, his whole life, and he's never worked anywhere else.
Correct. That was my only
Literally,
job. That was my only job as well.
Like never anywhere else. Like not even like a little job. Like never anywhere else. That was like his first actual job, really. Honestly. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're only.
Yeah, that's gonna be my
Sorry,
only job.
ew, that
Fuck
was
that, man.
That was a gross laugh. So for me, I worked at. I'll just do a little side note here. Long John Silver's for 3 months. My first job when I was 16.
Hush puppies.
Are you laughing at me? I worked there for 3
Give me
months.
some hush puppies.
Very short period of time, but I like have memories of that because it was my first job, you know, like ever. And then my mom and I used to go to Dunkin' Donuts for their 99-cent iced coffees back when you could get like the large for like $1, like 106, like $1.06. And there was a guy sitting there, and I guess he was like the district manager at the time, and he gave me a card and said, "Hey, apply, like whatever, and I got the job, and I worked there for 4 years. It might have been over 4 years, but I always just say 4 years. I fucking loved it. Hardest. I had the hardest time leaving there. Cried like a baby. Cried like a baby afterwards. That was the biggest. That was like one of the biggest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. That was right now is probably the biggest decision actually, which sounds like silly because it's just like Dunkin' Donuts, but that was like my job for 4 years, um, and like I was planning on working there while I was still in school, but then I decided not to go to school, so it was like a whole big transitional thing, and I left there and I went to Rite Aid Pharmacy, which I loved it, but I did not make very much money. And while I was working there, I was like, hey,
Did you actually love that? I feel like you didn't like that.
okay, well,
We don't need to
so
go deep into this, but
I, no. Okay, well, I did,
none of it.
no, I did like it. I think it had potential. I think I worked with some
You
older,
did look kind of cool in that little smock thing.
no, I worked with some older ladies, and they didn't want to work. Like it wasn't like the actual job itself that I didn't love, because I did like love the actual job itself. I wouldn't say love, but I liked it, and I really liked my one pharmacist, and but the people I worked with were like older ladies, and it was like I had to work the 1 to 9 shift. I was the one who had to work late. But when I originally like signed up for the job, I wanted to work daylight. So it was just like a bunch of stupid stuff, and I would end up having to work late when I originally wanted to work there daylight. So I think if it had the right people, and obviously I eventually made a little bit more money, which that wasn't they don't Rite Aid does not pay well compared to like Giant Eagle and stuff. It was ridiculous. And I went there for like a training program or something. They have like a little training thing, which it was cool. I liked it. Sure, I didn't love it, but I definitely loved my pharmacist. Like he was awesome. But I liked it there. Like I did. And I was like, well, I like this. Maybe, like it was back when I like wasn't going to school. So I was like, I felt like a whole new world. Like I can do whatever I want with my life. Like what should I do? So I was like, maybe I should work here and then also get a part-time job at like a childcare center. Cause I went to Beatty for early childhood, blah, blah, didn't do anything with it. But then I love babies and love children. So I was like, maybe I should do that. And then I was like, well, the money like just didn't make sense. I was like, well, when am I going to work at Rite Aid? When am I going to work at this place? So then I left and went to All About Kids, and I was a toddler teacher. Ooh, how long was I there? Only from March to July. And I was a 2-year-old teacher by myself with 6 2-year-olds. But I will say I loved it there. I did love it there. But I eventually realized I wanted to go somewhere a little more structured and getting my CDA, which is a certification that I am still currently working towards. I cannot get it right now because of COVID, and we have to have someone come in and observe me working with the children. So that's why I have not received it yet. But then I went to Kitty Academy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do.
There's Amanda's work history. Check out her LinkedIn. Connect with her.
Yeah, but I do love Kitty Academy. Obviously it has its moments, like because you're with kids all day, and it's a tough job, but obviously I love it there.
Yeah.
So, and I actually, when you were talking, I was thinking like I do. Obviously, there are sometimes where like, oh, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to get up. Da da da. But like I do when I'm like driving there, like I don't like dread it. Like I look forward to going in and seeing like my co-teacher Amy or like whoever, and being like, hey, how was your weekend? Whatever,
Everyone's different. For the last
But
year,
who knows? One day I might outgrow that job or whatever. It happens, and you just have to do what's best for you.
ebbs and flows. I mean, but what I was going to say there was everyone's different. Everyone, or on the last year or so, how long period of time leading up to me leaving my job, I would wake up at, we'll say 8 o'clock. I would work on my things for 2 hours, And then I'd be like,
Mhm.
shit, I have to go to work. So that is what I mean. And that is when I started to realize, you know what, I don't want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this. I'm wasting the best parts of my day. Because when I wake up and I'm refreshed, boom, I'm like an absolute lights out. Like I'll just destroy shit. And I'm wasting the best parts of my day, the best time of my day, going somewhere and working for somebody and doing things that they're helping me, but I'm also just miserable. So that's just what I would say is if you find yourself in that situation, then you got to do something to change that, because honestly, it is going to affect you. It's going to affect the people around you. It's just going to make your life fucking shitty. So, don't let that happen. And if you need help, if you need to talk to somebody, I mean, we're always here. I'm sure there's other people that might understand. The one thing you do have to be careful of is people that are set in their ways and really content with the shitty situation that they're in, because I will tell you straight up, I did not have many people in my life that understood that. Like, there's a lot of people in my life that are content with not living their best life, not in the stupid, cliche sense. I'm just saying, like, literally, just don't hate your fucking life every single day. Like, don't be content with not being fulfilled and not being happy on a regular basis. And I didn't have a lot of that. So I maybe had a few influences, and like I said, it took. Think about it like this, and I don't have too much else to say, so I want to make sure that this gets said. Think about it like this: if somebody in your life tells you something, right? Let's say it's your mom, dad, somebody that's close to you. You're probably going to understand it. You're probably going to take it in, listen to it, and understand it, right? Like you're probably going to listen to the people around you generally, right? You respect them. You've grown up with them. You know what their stance is like, and you probably tend to at least hear what they're saying and heed their advice to some degree. But imagine, like, you have this idea in your mind, and you know that you want to do something different, build a business, for instance, and you don't really get that too much from anywhere around you. So you have to go on like the internet. You have to go to like influencers. You have to go on people on YouTube, people that are doing things elsewhere in the world that you don't even know very much, like you and Mad Fit. It's like you have to find somebody in the world that's doing what you want to do and gain like inspiration and motivation and like the knowledge just to start something. And then, but here's the thing though, it's like in the back of your mind, it's like, I don't know who these people are. Like maybe they're, like maybe they had a different circumstance, this, that, or the other thing or whatever. And it's like, it just takes more time. Like it takes more energy and like more convincing almost to hear that from somebody that's indirect. But at the same time, that's the most powerful thing that we have as people of like the 21st century, is we don't just have to listen to our mom, our dad, and the two people like on our street. We can listen to anybody in the entire world and get different perspective and and hear what's really possible, what other people have done. And I think that's so powerful. And that's the reason that I am on the path that I'm on now. And I just want to continue to get better every single day.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. Like with Mad Fit and Lauren Geraldo. I follow her and watch her YouTube videos, and with Mick Zazon, if I'm saying her name correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, I feel like I watch them, you know, hear what they have to say, and it's almost like it makes me into like, their influences on me, so it makes me into like have different point of views and me want to be an influence on other people in different ways.
Yeah.
Um
You learn, you implement,
and
you see what works, and then you share it.
before quarantine, I never like watched YouTube videos. Now all I do is watch Lauren Geraldo. Every video she comes out with, boom, I watch it. Or Henny, her boyfriend, puts out, I watch that. He hasn't been vlogging. Henny, what the fuck? Post some vlogs. We love them. And just Maddie Lim Bomber, actually, she doesn't post a lot of videos right now, but they're not recent. She kind of has stopped her personal YouTube page. She is really focused on MadFit right now, but I've watched a lot of her stuff and I've followed a lot more people. I feel like a lot of say don't follow people who are like bad influences on you, and I'm kind of like, I feel like I don't know if I ever really followed people that negatively like affected me, you know, like skinny people. They're like, don't follow these people that make you feel bad about yourself, which I totally get, but I don't know. I feel like I never really followed that many influencers until recently. But what I was going to say is, this is like even hard for me to say because I feel like I remember how I felt back when you first, like swinging it all the way back around. I feel back when you first told me that I need to find a hobby or I need to do something for myself.
I did say that.
Is what you said. It just sounded crazy to me. Like, it was just like, whatever. If you don't think you need to focus on yourself, think again. Even if it's like, I don't know, taking a bath. Like, I don't know. Like, do something for you. Like, just do something for you. Because me, I said to Mark, I'm like, oh, well, my friends and my family, they're all, you know, what makes me happy, which is true. But when I had that time to myself during quarantine, I like, even just like sitting there and like doing my nails or like, I don't know, like just doing things for me. Just do something for you that makes you happy, and like, just have your own thoughts. Like, obviously we all have our own thoughts, but just think, you know?
That's actually crazy. I remember that now. Like, I told you that, and you're like, I'm like, what do you like to do, or what's your hobby or whatever? And you're like, just hanging out with my family or something like that. Like going on weekend trips, which ended up not happening as much anymore because of just circumstances.
Before COVID, I used to, so before my pap passed away, after my grandma passed away, we would have Saturday adventures, and we would go out every Saturday, and we would just do whatever. It was like we would get up at 8 a.m. or it often changed times to like maybe later in the day. We would get up at 8 a.m. We would go, and we would have destinations. Sometimes we didn't. We would just go, and that was it. And I loved it. Hopefully we will eventually get back to that. My pap has obviously passed away, but we will continue. My great aunt, so my grandma's sister who passed away, she would come, and it was my pap, and then me and my mom and Mo. And Mark did come a couple times, but obviously he works at the restaurant on the weekends. So that literally was our tradition every Saturday. Obviously, sometimes I would have to skip out on it if something was going on. But right now, my Aunt Donnie, you know, has been like on lockdown.
Yeah.
For good reason. She goes to the store and she did not go to vote. I think she did the mail-in ballot. But she goes to the store. She's out in the world. She is. Yeah. But we just do not really see her. I remember at the beginning of this, we did drop something off at her door, and that was the last time I saw her. But my mom talks to her every day, so, and I listen in. She said to me, when she was on the phone with my mom, she's like, that little Amanda, I never hear from her. But I know what's going on in her life because I listen when her and my mom talk, and I try to get involved in their conversations, but I guess I have to call her myself.
But
because whatever.
The point is that
yes.
that I literally said that to you, and you said that your hobby was like hanging out with your friends and your friends and your family, and it was to a certain degree, and then that kind of got taken from you. But at the same time, though, like
I know
I would argue that that is not you. Like you said, like you just said, like you needed something that was for you. That was something.
Yeah, that's what you meant, for something for me.
Yeah,
and I didn't think I needed anything.
Yeah, I mean you don't realize how important you are until you start taking some time to like really understand like the things that you want to do and the things that make you happy, and try to do some of that shit.
Over the quarantine, I made a schedule for myself. I had to. Well, I was working on a lot of stuff for my CDA. I had to create a portfolio for my CDA. So I made a schedule for myself. Wake up in the morning, eat, work out, maybe organize my room or some like put away clothes, something stupid like that. And then
clean your goddamn room.
And then work on my CDA stuff. And it was only like 3 things, I think, like on my list. Like, cause it wasn't like all like shower at this time, do that. Like, it wasn't anything like crazy like that. It was literally just like work out, and do like your CDA stuff. And sometimes I had like some little stuff like organize something stupid or paint your nails, or I still do that like every weekend. I write my little list of clean your masks, paint your nails.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that helped keep me sane. Now towards the end, I remember it being like, okay, I'm doing my schedule. I'm doing everything I could possibly be doing, because eventually I finished my CDA stuff and I had like nothing to do. But yeah, and I'm sure it's even harder right now to focus on yourself because we're not. People are working now. Like, it's like back to real life. So that was like almost for me. It was like I was like forced to focus on myself. But like I feel like just I don't know. Think about one thing you could do for yourself today.
Yeah, I mean, you got to capitalize on the opportunities. I mean, everybody had an opportunity. Hopefully, it was positive for most people. If it wasn't the greatest time for somebody, then it's unfortunate to hear that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's on you. It's on you. Nobody is gonna be able to take like you and somehow like mold you and like just force you to do things that you would want to do. You have to just sit down, try to find some time, even if you fucking work 10 jobs, like try to find 10 minutes and just think, what is it that I can do in some of my time here, budget in a little bit here and there that'll make me happier, make my life a little bit more fulfilling, and and then just kind of go from there. And then maybe if that's something that ends up making you money or something, you can, again, like you can move out of whatever is shitty in your life, try to replace it with something that's not shitty.
But like I said, you might not know what it is.
It's not easy. This stuff isn't easy.
Mark could be saying that right now, and you could be like, I have no fucking clue what I could put into my day that's for me, because I didn't know it was going to be exercising for me. I just started exercising one day and was like, oh shit.
She guessed correctly.
This is for me. I didn't guess. I literally started doing it because I felt lazy and I wanted to move a little bit.
You took an educated guess and it happened to be right, but
it probably wasn't fun at first.
But here's the thing, though.
I might have felt a little like Cole being like a little, because I wasn't fit at all. I was like, okay, look at me, I can do this.
Maybe instead of starting my own things, I got another job, and maybe it's like, oh, this is kind of cool for like 3 months, and then it would have sucked. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a high likelihood that you're gonna guess incorrectly, right? You understand what I'm saying? At whatever it is, like replacing something or like trying something new, that is the thing, is like, especially if you're young, you have time to make incorrect guesses. And if you're old too, I mean, like, you might as well do it, because what the fuck else is your alternative? Okay? Like, just continue to live continue to live miserably. But what I'm saying is, you have to try to think of what could replace something, what could make your life better. And it might not be the first guess, but you got to keep going, because what is the alternative? Just to be fucking miserable? That doesn't sound like a good alternative to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
I'm going to make a shirt. We're going to make shirts with
I
what
don't
is
know.
the
I
alternative.
guess I can I almost like kind of understand, like not like understand. I mean, like I wasn't miserable because I feel like I'm always a happy person. But I feel like just going through the motions and going home and going to work, I can understand how that's miserable. And some people might just like don't know what to do.
I mean, I don't want to plug something else during AM and PM, but you got to stay fueled by progress. Mm-hmm. Seriously. I love that name. I love what we're going to do over there. Amanda's a huge part of that. And this is, AM and PM is specifically for couples and relationship advice, but honest to God, everything is very similar. Like, it doesn't matter if you're, this is, I think of this more as like the team element of that, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you as an individual, because it's two halves, it's two individuals that make up a whole unit there. And, it's so fucking important, because if one pillar of that is, miserable at their job or at this, that, or the other thing, or they're going through some shit, it's going to affect the whole unit. So that is why that this is an important topic, and that's why we feel passionately about these things. Yeah, just because we went through them. We're not talking from bullshit anymore. We actually went through these things.
Just do something, and if you feel accomplished, do it again. And if it's hard, try again.
Yeah.
Trust me, try it again.
Yeah.
Um, right now I'm in pretty good shape, I think, with my workouts, but there's probably been times where I literally had to like force myself to try again and just do it because it was hard. It's not going to be easy. I mean, whatever you're doing. But yeah.
Yep. So I think that's pretty much it. You kind of heard where we were and who we've become and all sorts of stuff in between. Went on different tangents here and there, but I think it was all pretty pertinent. I know we talk about our story a lot. We were talking about this before the episode, but we really do think that it's really important and really valuable for a lot of people to hear this. And
we're growing.
Yeah, I mean, we're growing. We're trying
and
to.
we're going to keep growing.
Yeah, we're trying.
So we're going to talk about it again.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to document everything that we're doing. We're trying to help people along the way, have people on to have good conversations sometimes as usual. So, yeah, but regardless, guys, thank you so much. This has been another episode of AM and the PM with Amanda and Mark. We thank you so much and are very appreciative of you guys for tuning in and listening with us, watching on YouTube, all that jazz. And thank you. So that's all we got. We'll talk to you guys in the next one.